talk just for a minute about, some of the basic troubleshooting of the patio heater. Some of the calls that we receive that are most common would be the regulator. The regulator is shipped independent of the burner, and so that the hose can feed down the main shaft. The consumers put the regulator on, and this is considered a compression fitting. They get it hand tight, and there's leakage. Where there's leakage, propane won't feed to the burner properly, and you won't get the heat that you need, and/or the heater won't start. So you need to make sure that this regulator is tightened with 2 wrenches, and it is tight. And you need to also check for leaks. Simple soap and water spray solution, you spray it on there, you'll see the leak coming out. So that's one of the most common problems we see, or we receive on our 800 number. The second most common problem would be the starting of the heater. Pretty basic. You have your off position. The most important thing about starting the heater is making sure that you have a pilot light. If you don't have a pilot light, your heater will not start. Pilot light serves for a couple different reasons. One, to heat up a thermocoupler, which activates the main control valve to start your heater. So if the pilot light's not working, your heater will not start. On our heaters, this particular brand of heater, you turn it to your pilot position. Now, when the heater is new, you have a lot of air in the lines from your regulator all the way up through your burner valve and your hose, your feed tube. You need to get that air out of the lines. Air doesn't burn, as you well know. So, first of all, we want to make sure our gas is turned on. Go to your control knob, turn it to the pilot position, and hold it in. Put your thumb on it, put your hand around here, and just look up there and you'll see a spark. Once again, in the shaded area, you'll see a spark. You want to make sure you got a spark first of all, which the spark ignites your pilot light. And keep hitting it. Sometimes you might have to hit this 20 times before you'll actually get a pilot light. Your main objective is to get the pilot light. Once you see your pilot light going, you want to heat up your thermocoupler. So you just hold it in for another 10 seconds or so. Simply release the knob, your heater should turn on. If by chance it turns on and it shuts right off, we possibly have another problem. It could go back to the regulator being loose, not tightened properly, and/or it could be if your heater's older and been used, prior in a previous time. It could be a few different reasons why. Generally, a new heater, or the new heaters that we sell, this type of heater, is trouble-free. But from time to time, you're going to have a certain amount of defectives, but we haven't seen too many of them. But if you don't get a pilot light and/or your pilot light goes out, I venture to say that your regulator is not tight. Sometimes on a new regulator, you get air trapped in the regulator and there's a diaphragm in there. Simply take the regulator off the propane tank and just tap it on your propane tank a couple of times. Believe it or not, it a lot of times solves the problem. It opens up that diaphragm, releases the air pocket, and you're good to go. But just to back up, after we've checked that and we made sure that our regulator is tight, and we're comfortable with that, we go back up here and we start to light it again. Hold it in on the pilot. First of all, we want to make sure our gas is turned on. Once again, we get a pilot light. Release the knob, you turn it down, and your pilot light goes out. Okay? It could be one of two things. We have something stuck, a small spider web, which is a common problem, been around for many, many years. For whatever reason, they attract to either the smell of the gas. It's kind of a moth-type spider. The pilot tube itself, the opening on the orifice is so small that you can barely even detect. If you were to pull the pilot tube off of your main burner and blow through it, you won't feel anything. Generally, you'll have to put it into a cup of water and actually see bubbles come out of it. But any obstruction in that pilot tube, which is actually called the venturi tube, will keep your pilot light from working. And without a pilot light, your heater's not going to function properly. So, basically, once again, that would be going back to a heater that's been used prior, set outside for a while, been used quite a bit, and something's trapped in your pilot tube. But just to touch on 3 or 4 highlights that are critical. New heaters generally are pretty simple. Your regulator's tight and you clear all the air out of the lines, 99.9% of the time they should fire right up after getting all the air out of the line. Older heater that's been around, you bought it last year, generally the problems are obstruction in your pilot tube and or faulty regulator, and even bad gas. Believe it or not, we've had situations where the customer had the gas setting around for many years and it lost its whatever you call it. But anyways, those are some of the simple things that you can look at. Once again, the patio heater is very basic on our website. There's links to how to fix these, how to take the heater apart, just a few basic screws to get to the pilot tube, how to clean the pilot tube out. It's not very difficult at all. And in my years of experience, I've found that an older heater, older than a year or whatever, or previously used, generally it's obstruction in the pilot tube. You've got particles and stuff that drop down in there and block it. So thank you very much for your time and have a great day. Hopefully this helps you with your future trouble. I'd like to talk just for a minute about some of the basic troubleshooting of the patio heater. Some of the calls that we receive that are most common would be the regulator. The regulator is shipped independent of the burner, and so that the hose can feed down the main shaft. The consumers put the regulator on, and this is considered a compression fitting. They get it hand tight, and there's leakage. Or there's